Hey everyone, it's Sunday today, so that means it's time to sit down and chat all things ChatGPT and catch up with the news in the week. So let's start it off with one of the big notes from the news, and this comes from a research study. So if you have checked out LinkedIn, you may have seen some posts yesterday about how AI assistants like ChatGPT can improve patient-doctor communication. So a study recently published by John W. Ayers from the University of California in San Diego compared written responses from physicians and from ChatGPT to real-world health questions. The researchers asked whether ChatGPT could accurately answer questions typically sent to doctors, and if successful, AI models could be integrated into health systems to enhance physician responses and reduce their workload. So to test this, the researchers collected 195 exchanges from Reddit's Ask Doc subreddit, where verified physicians answer medical questions, and a panel of 3 licensed healthcare professionals assessed responses from both physicians and ChatGPT without knowing the source. Now, the results? Well, actually, ChatGPT responses were preferred 79% of the time, with higher ratings in both information quality and empathy. I'm super interested in this because in the past weeks, we've been discussing the doctor-patient relationship and the role of generative AI that could improve these relationships. We've seen a couple comments from Colin Armstrong and from Patrick Bouchard. Thank you guys. I really appreciate comments just as a food for thought and being able to kind of, see different aspects and whether or not you agree or disagree. If I could make some predictions with this news for any of you in the business and consulting world or just in life in general, I would put my money on the fact that we will probably see enhanced virtual healthcare with this. So we know that with the growing adoption of virtual healthcare, especially during COVID, we're probably going to see how AI assistants can support like telemedicine platforms, addressing patients' queries quickly and empathetically, big word there, while easing workload from healthcare professionals. Also to perhaps platforms in which we have kind of the WebMD, this isn't cancer, don't worry about it, this is an ingrown toenail. So I think that we'll see this down the pipeline, and I will also probably say that we're going to see AI augmented care. And in a tidbit piece of consulting news this week, PWC is announcing that it is making a $1 billion investment to expand and scale its AI capabilities. I guess maybe that's not such a tidbit piece of news. This is a pretty big piece of news. But yeah, I think that's fantastic. They're looking to scale and grow their offerings using OpenAI's GPT-4 and Microsoft's Azure OpenAI service. So yeah, they're looking at making things more scalable and starting to implement more capabilities with Azure OpenAI service for their clients. And this is fantastic. I feel like PwC is saying, hey, there's a $50 bill on the ground, and they're one of the few firms that are picking that $50 bill up. So that's great. Cool. Now, let's switch tracks and talk about regulation. It's a fun, actually, maybe it's not fun, but it is a topic that we should talk about. And the news this week is that the European Union is taking further steps towards implementing the world's first comprehensive laws governing AI technology, including tools like ChatGPT. The European Commission started drafting the AI Act nearly 2 years ago, aiming to regulate the emerging AI technologies following the boom in investment and popularity triggered by OpenAI's ChatGPT. Now, the act itself is called the AI Act. And what's in the AI Act is an expansive act that covers products and services that use AI, as well as AI systems used in the public sector, law enforcement, and those that interact with humans or generate deepfake content. So it will work alongside existing laws like GDPR, and they mention a few things like high-risk AI tools, such as tools that use AI in critical infrastructure, law enforcement, or education. And what they want to impose is rigorous risk assessments, activity logging, and data sharing with authorities for this. So this would be a huge increase in compliance costs for companies. A key focus of this legislation is the General Purpose AI Systems, or GPAIS category, which includes multi-application AI models like ChatGPT. And so the lawmakers are currently debating the risk level and obligations for these systems. Are they high risk? Are they low risk? Are they involved in critical infrastructure, etc.? Now, the companies that are found in breach of the AI Act may face fines up to 30 million euros or 6% of global profits, whichever is higher. The timeline for the AI Act's enforcement remains uncertain at this point, but industry experts expect it to pass this year. A recent addition to the proposal stipulates that companies deploying generative AI tools like ChatGPT must disclose copyrighted material used to develop their systems, so the materials that these systems are used to train on. This development in AI regulation demonstrates that the EU's commitment to finding a balance between fostering innovation and protecting citizens' rights, while also addressing the concerns surrounding the rapid growth of AI technology, shouldn't be taken for granted. Now, I find this interesting specifically that companies deploying generative AI tools such as ChatGPT will have to disclose copyright material used to develop their systems. I think that's great, but I feel like OpenAI could just hand the EU like a 1,000,000 terabyte hard drive and be like, here you go. We use the internet to train it. Here is a snapshot of the internet. Now, a user and I had a discussion about this 3 weeks ago. And again, I really appreciate when people do comment because it does provide new perspectives and new food for thought. And their perspective was that because of EU regulations, that means that innovation is, well, next to dead in Europe, they did comment. It was nice to revisit this comment because I'm of three minds on this essentially now. That A, it's great to foster innovation, and if we overregulate everything, then innovation is simply going to take place in America and China. But two, if we just have no regulation at all, that is something in which there could be the centrality of power just go to the big tech firms when it comes to AI development, and them leading sort of the policies and regulations on this. And then third, of course, we need data protection and guidance for citizens, for people, for copyright holders, etc. So, yeah. I'm still thinking. I'll let you know when I come to a conclusion. Now let's talk about some tech news this week. So there were some groundbreaking advancements in running generative AI models on mobile devices. Traditionally, these models require cloud-based or high-powered computers to run these generative AI models because they have such large computational demands. However, a team of Google AI researchers have discovered a method to significantly improve the performance of some of these models, like Stable Diffusion. So one Samsung device generated an image using Stable Diffusion 1.4 in a matter of 12 seconds. Now, the coolest part about this is that the approach can be applied to other large diffusion models, potentially boosting generative AI performance on various mobile devices. And this is also really cool because we know that Qualcomm had announced edge computing chips at the Mobile World Congress, meaning that the technology for AI models being completely done on the phone and not in the cloud is a lot sooner than we think. So speaking and building upon the news of Drake and AI music from last week, if you've ever wanted to do a duet or to use Grimes's lyrics and her voice, feel free to, as long as you split 50% of the royalties. So Grimes has announced on Twitter that she is up to splitting 50% of royalties on any successful AI generated song. There is no label that she's attached to, so there are no legal bindings. I would take this with a huge grain of salt, but yeah, I think that we're going to see more of these offerings taking place. And to round off in some last news, if you are interested in prompt engineering, well, look no further because Microsoft has released a webpage that details out some prompt engineering techniques. Of course, I will put a link in the description if you want to go and check that out. But yeah, I think this is a really nice thing to release for some people that feel like they have a bit of barrier to entry when it comes to ChatGPT. Like, what sort of prompt should I be writing? How should I actually be engaging with Bing or with ChatGPT? So yeah. As a side note as well, actually, sorry, time out, 1 second. As a side note as well, I would say that any sort of consultant or person in tech, in business, even in, I would say, communications and many other careers, I would start taking a look at this now, because I can imagine that within 5 years, we're going to see a demand for prompt engineering quite quickly. Actually, go ahead, everybody that is watching this, and take a look at this document just to kind of future-proof yourself. And in my life this week, it was King's Day in the Netherlands, which is a wonderful excuse to celebrate the King's birthday, and more importantly, break out all colors of orange that you have in your wardrobe, wear them. Don't go so as far to paint your face orange. I did that taboo when I first moved here, and I mean, the Dutch go hard, but they do not go face painting hard. So any sort of newcomer to the Netherlands, please don't ever paint your face here. It's too much. But yeah, I really enjoyed myself. I walked around the park with my partner. We watched parents exploiting their children to have them play instruments for money, baked goods, and all that fun jazz. So it was a nice long weekend here in the Netherlands, and that's what I did. And that's it from me. If you like this video and want more generative AI and ChatGPT news each Sunday, go ahead and press subscribe. If you like this video, go ahead and press like. And yeah, if you have comments on some of the issues that we talked about, please go ahead and comment. I would love that. I really like updating my perspective on what people who watch this video have to say or think about the different topics that we explore each week. And yeah, that's that. So I'm wishing everybody a wonderful week ahead and have a fantastic day.